All right, welcome to your practice. We will hmm, start to connect to our inner sense of being through movement and breath and mindfulness, trying to find the natural simplicity. The natural simplicity. I'm going to start with a story today because we were just asked to submit poems or short stories or something for this training that's about to begin. And this is the empty boat. And the idea behind the empty boat is it's written by Chung Tzu, who's like the second Taoist founder, so whatnot. And the idea is that if someone's in a boat and they crash into you, and even an angry person would yell, right? They'd be very upset. But if that same angry person had a boat crash into them that was empty, they wouldn't be very upset. They would have nothing to sort of be angry at. It would be an empty boat. And the story goes on to sort of say, be like an empty boat. That even if you can learn how to empty your own boat, that even if you come in contact with angry people, you will still be free from harm and free from blame. And that this is the way to navigate basically what it's like to live in a chaotic world. That they had, similar problems with people a couple thousand years ago. And so that this is a way to live life that we can like empty our boat and be with the flow of the tide of the lake or the river or what have you. Um, and so perhaps we'll take that into our asana. That sometimes we can very much feel that angry person in the boat is influencing our own postures. But perhaps we can empty our boat and let our postures just be expressions of the flow of things, the flow of nature. There we go. Empty boat. So sit well. Think about the spine and the crown reaching up to the sky and the sit bones reaching down into the earth. As you breathe, you feel the breath as a natural expression of being alive. And it does not need to be steered necessarily, but it can be like this empty boat, or really the tide that moves the empty boat. So each inhale in and exhale out happens at its own time. As you start to sit here and sink into this breath awareness, you maybe take note of how you are the person in the boat and your expectations for maybe this yoga class or just life. How you can be the one, perhaps sometimes causing the calamity. That there is something much deeper, much more natural that could influence our experience. A few more breaths, just watching the breath as though it was the breeze on a lake. And just drop your head off to one side. Go slow. Feel the opening in the side of the neck. And roll the head back up to center. And drop the head off to the other side. Roll the head back up to center. Bring the shoulders up and back. Part the arms, part the hands. Open the chest. Breathe. Good. Place the hands back down. Just gently rock the shoulders and head forward. Bring this fluid idea. And so there was a tide. Inhale, come back up. Let's lift up our left arm high to the sky. And just take a big wave. more boat metaphors going on here with the idea of waves. Inhale the right arm up and back. You're going to squeeze the arms across the front, rounding and opening the mid and upper back. And then open, swoop the arms out wide, open the chest, throat open. And then place your hands back on your knees, drop your head. Inhale, come back up. And find your seat again. Let's do that again. Drop the head to one side. This idea of being fluid and open, empty. Roll it back to center. I think in our Western culture, sometimes we think of the word empty as like empty-headed, and it has sort of a negative connotation. Drop the head off to the other side. But in many Eastern cultures, Eastern traditions, the idea of empty is much more positive. As a matter of fact, much more sort of desirable. Back to center. Drop the head forward, round the shoulders. That to be empty means to be connected with, to be free of your own individual ego and blocks that can get in the way of life. Pull the arms and shoulders back, part the chest. And I think sometimes we can benefit from this idea. Let's reach up and over. Personally, I can benefit from this idea a lot. I can cause a lot of problems up in my own head. Let's come back to center. Now, when I'm empty, I'm just sort of in this flow, in this ease of movement, ease of being with others, being with myself, being with my life. Let's come back to center. Good. Go ahead, spiral your spine to one direction. Feel the whole thing spiral. And uncoil it. Spiral the spine into the other direction. That being empty allows us to sort of take in what's happening in nature a little more easily around us. Back to center. Perhaps even learn new things a little bit easier. Hook your thumbs, stretch your hands forward and up. Let's lean, open and up and back. And then split the hands, come down wide. Let's do that 3 more times. You're going to inhale, hook the thumbs forward and up. Open and wide. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, open and wide. Good. One more deep breath here. One more twist to one side, just to give a full expression of the spine. Be empty. Think about that. Boat has no desire, no direction. Now, the angry person in the other boat, they probably got an agenda. They know exactly where they want their boat to go. And I think there's benefits of that too, but they were just looking into what kind of benefit could we glean from letting our own boat be empty, back to center. What kind of positive influence could there be in that approach? Let's bring the forearms together in front like you're reading a book and you wanted to have good posture. Gently lift the elbows up as high as you can without separating them. Feel how this opens the back and the shoulder blades. Good. Now from here, just pull your elbows wide like they're a field goal post, straight back. Good. Rotate the hands down, downward facing field goal post. Yep, heard that in a lot of yoga classes. Take the left arm behind your back so you can see the hand, maybe. And then with that hand, grab the other arm. And with that other arm, you're going to pull, and so you're kind of drawing your shoulders onto the back. You're pulling the arm that went behind your back. Good. Turn your head. Just find the stretch. One more breath. And back to center. Let's do that whole sequence again. You're going to inhale, lift the arms up like you're reading a book with great posture. Lift it up tall and separate. Rotate the hands down. And whatever arm went behind your back last time, you'll take the other arm behind your back, maybe so you can see it, and then grab. And you're gonna pull the arm that reached behind the back first. Pull it so it tucks that shoulder blade, and maybe turn the head away. Breathe. Let the breath be this natural expression of the stretch. And come back. Good. Let's go ahead, bring our knees up in front of us. Place the feet flat on the floor. Let our head hang a moment, just a little bit. So a nice rounded back, opening the kidneys, and pull your belly muscles in. Like you're trying to become a little ball. Breathing here, keeping the shoulders soft and suspended from the ears. Good. Sit back a little bit deeper so your arms are extended out, and maybe lift your toes off the ground. I'm going to move back to the mat so you can see. We are making, thematically, a boat pose. Empty the boat. Boat pose in yoga is a very good pose to get angry in because it's the core work. So if you want the test to see that you can lift your legs, your toes off the ground, you are in boat pose. Good. Cross your ankles, reach up. Try to lean forward as best you can. Make sure your low back is tilting forward as well. You're not just rounding your back to reach up. And let's one more time go into our boat pose. Bring the knees up. You want to stay here a moment. Pulling the belly muscles in. Once the belly muscles feel in, you'll sit back by extending the arms, and if you choose to, lifting the toes off the ground. Boat pose. Good. Go ahead, cross your ankles, rock forward, and come onto your hands and your knees. Tabletop. Lift up the low back, lift up the mid back, and start to swing the hips back. Stretching out the back here a moment. Inhale, come forward. You can walk the knees back and just sort of dip them down into the earth. Breathe here. Let's lift the hips up, around the back slightly, and pull the hips back. They might get to the heels. I mean, I'm just sort of working on the stretch more than the shape. And so I'm feeling into the low back, opening that low back area, mid back. Inhale, come forward again. You're going to dip the hips as much as you like. Keep the arms straight if you can. Got to use that core, engage the belly muscles here. Good. Press back to tabletop. Lift that left leg straight back if you can. You're going to lift it up, and you might even lift it open a little bit, getting a side hip stretch. Good. Exhale. Let's place that knee back down, and you can go ahead and lift that right leg straight back, straight up, and then maybe rolling open. Come back down. Good. Let's take our knees nice and wide apart. You can take the feet a little wider apart too, and then sit back a little more again. From here, you're going to come down onto your forearms. So your forearms will come to the ground. You can put your palms together. If you've got yourself a yoga block, you can even hold the yoga block in that position. And then you're going to back your knees up. Draw the belly muscles in. Breathe into the spine. Try to feel it as the center of the posture, and everything else stabilizes around it. If it's available to you, you're going to tuck your toes if they're not already, and go ahead and lift your knees up. So you're going to full forearm plank, and we'll breathe here for several breaths. And you'll start to feel that your boat is in fact not empty, that there's a voice in there yelling very loud. And we just contemplate, how can I be here? And have an empty boat, and it starts at the beginning with realizing you are in fact choosing to be in this pose. You could come down, you could come out of it. You are not a prisoner in this boat. Bring the knees down, drop the pelvis down, and come into Sphinx posture. Another option, instead of holding the block on the sides, you actually put your index and thumb on the block and your palms on the floor. Elbows under your shoulders. Go ahead and bring the collarbones up and back. Lift the crown up. Breathe. Good. Tuck the toes. And you can push off with the knees and do a forearm plank with the knees down. Or if you'd like to, you put a forearm plank with the legs straight. And you can contemplate the meaning of having an empty boat. That this is an opportunity to be in this pose, not a requirement. But there is no prisoner. There is no one to complain. There is no one to grow tired. There's just this experience happening. Good. Drop the pelvis back into the mat. Lift up through your crown. Draw the collarbones up and then back. Breathe. One more final round of forearm plank. You're going to press the knees down and lift the hips up. You can do this on your knees. You can do this with the legs straight. Give yourself the freedom to move into the posture the way an empty boat would move across a lake. It would just be moved. It would look almost carefree, easeful, and it would happen naturally on what the body was feeling, the energy of the moment was feeling. Good. Last Sphinx pose of this set, dropping the hips down, lifting up through the collarbones and crown. Good. Now you can rest your hands on top of that block or just slide your fingertips out in front. You're going to slide that block way out in front, lengthening the whole side body, lengthening the spine, reaching the crown towards those thumbs. And go ahead and point your toes straight back behind you. Feel this lengthening happening. Close your eyes and grow into the posture. If you have the second block, you'll take one block on each side, or if you don't have blocks, you'll just use your fingertips. And you will slide the blocks equally away from each other. You can put your lips against the mat or your forehead against the mat without crushing your nose. And extend out through your hands, either onto the blocks or onto the floor, to get space in your shoulder girdle. Good. Release the right arm down into the earth. So if it's on a block, just place the whole hand down now. And with the left hand, bend the elbow so the hand is nearer the shoulder, like so. And then push with the left hand to roll your body open. So you're rolling open the right shoulder, and you can bring your left knee up, and place the left foot behind the right knee. You can go in front of the right knee too. Not sure if that's easier or not, honestly. And rolling open, feeling a stretch in the shoulder and the hip a little bit. Close that hip and now slide the left foot back almost along the floor. It might be a little bit lifted. Keep breathing. Keep sinking and relaxing. Roll yourself back to center and go ahead and extend the left arm straight out in that T shape and pull the right hand back. So you can push down with the right hand and roll your shoulders up. Maybe lift your right knee up into the sky, placing the right foot behind the left knee. Breathe into the stretch. Let gravity hold the body. And we think about the empty boat. Chuang Tzu suggests that we can be like the empty boat. We do not need to be this driver. We do not need to have this intention and direction all the time, that we can just exist in this moment, in the flow of nature and time. Lower that top knee and you can slide the foot further back across the body now to get a different kind of stretch. Basically the same shape. And then roll yourself back to center. Place the hands under the shoulders. Let's push ourselves up. And let's go back to child's posture. Opening the back. Walk the knees a little forward. And push yourself up to a squat pose. Try to stretch out the calf by letting the heel grow heavy here in this squat pose. And then roll up through the spine to standing. And we'll come to the front of our yoga mats. Rotate the palms to face forward. Lift up tall through the spine. Take a deep breath as you draw your kneecaps in and up. Do a gentle circle here. We're going to lift the shoulders up, back, and down. And as the shoulders come down, the palms will come against the outer leg, and you'll slide the fingers down the outer leg. Then you're going to inhale, come back up to our starting position, turn the palms open, bring the shoulders up, back, and down. And as they go down, slide the palms down the outer leg. Inhale, come back up. Shoulders up, back, and down. Slide the hands down. Inhale, come back up. Two more like that. Just be in the flow, following the breath, following the movement. Good. Slide the hands all the way down. If you've got blocks, find a block. All the way down. And go ahead and step your right leg back into a high lunge, which means the knee is lifted. As you push back through the right leg, bend out through the front knee. Trying to let that knee go past the toe. And also reach out through your crown on the diagonal. Take a deep breath. I'm going to start to straighten that front leg a little bit until you feel the back of the leg engage. Once more, bend that front knee all the way through. Push out through the crown. Inhale. And then exhale, press down through the legs, starting to straighten them as you let the head hang a little bit. And then step yourself back to a forward bend. From here, step the left leg back into the high lunge. Pushing back through the left leg as you melt forward through the right knee. As you melt through the front knee, push out through the crown. And we'll cycle 2 more times, straightening through the front leg, hanging the forehead. Inhale, bend through the front knee. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, bend. As you step it all the way back to the front of the mat. Push down through the legs. Inhale, come up. Let's bring the hands together over our head and then down through our heart. Push the hands straight out in front, and like you're parting curtains, pull the arms wide open. Turn the feet out about 45 degrees and bend your knees, placing the hands on top of them. You're going to bend your knees as low as you can. Try to keep the heel on the ground or pretty close to it into our squat posture. Roll up through the spine. Inhale, swoop the arms up high. Exhale, hands down to our heart. Push the hands, fluid movements like a boat on a river. Open the river, open the curtains on your boat. Very nice boat. You got a yacht boat with curtains. Bend your knees, place your hands on your knees, squatting down. Let the spine hang as you roll up, you leading with the back of the hips, the movement. Inhale, come all the way up. Hands down to the heart. Push the hands forward again. Open the arms, part the curtains. Exhale, squat down. Rock the head and shoulders forward. Lift up through the back of the pelvis. Inhale, arms up, last round. Hands to the heart. Push forward. Open wide. Drop it down. We'll stay down this time. Finding those blocks again. Let's go ahead and step your right foot back, covering the right edge of the mat. Putting the left foot on the left edge of the mat. Now you can walk the hands a little bit on the diagonal so you have plenty of space. And this time see if you can in fact straighten both legs. You can use your hands on the blocks for support or even go up a little higher with a coffee table ledge. Once the legs are straight and the feet are firmly planted, gently start to move the hips a little bit. Moving the hips side to side, exploring how to open the stretch, how to find a sense of presence. Don't move too fast. You want to make sure the muscles are stabilizing as they stretch. Good. Now rebend that front knee. That's your left one, I believe. And keep your right hand nice and wide today. as you lift your left arm up like a flagpole, right in the center of your tripod. Push down with your push down with your right hand and really push down with your feet. Let's drop it back down. We're going to square both feet towards the front edge and then step the left foot back along the left edge. We're going to straighten both legs and walk our hands over until we find a place where our legs feel stable, but we can also rock the pelvis side to side. Rebend the front knee and push down with your left hand so that you can open your right to the sky like a flagpole. Make a big triangle with your bottom hand and your 2 feet. Breathe and extend through the posture. Good. Let's place our hands on our mat. We're going to come to our downward facing dog pose. Downward facing dog pose. Billy, you go to the wall for this one. Stretch back through the hips. Press down through the sits bones. Try to release your neck and your skull through the shoulders. Bending the knees, place them on the floor. You can walk the feet a little closer together as you walk your hands back and up. You're going to sit back as far as you can. Maybe your hips touch your heels. Just take a moment here to lift up through your spine. Good. Now go ahead and bring your hips up above your knees and stretch up through your arms, placing the index fingers together. Keep squeezing the arms together and pull your arms over to your right. Inhale back up and pull your arms over to your left. Inhale back up. Bring the arms back down. Good. We're going to try runner stretch. So you'll bring your left foot forward. You'll probably need your blocks again. I like to use my blocks here to frame your front leg. Choose your distance where you can kind of bend the front knee or sink back through the hips. A nice little rocking motion. We'll rock 2 more times. So as you're rocking your hips back, you're just finding where that runner stretch is going to be. When you rock back, that front toe comes off the ground. And we're going to rock back this 3rd time and just hold the pose. Peeling that front foot off the ground, the heel is down. You want to feel the stretch all down the back of the leg. And it's almost like you're gently hugging under the left hip, the front hip. Long, deep breath. Good. Place that foot forward. And let's change our legs. Bring the other leg in front. And we're going to do a couple rocks. Right? The rocking is to make sure that the joints have a nice sense of stability and spaciousness. And you're starting to get a feel for how the stretch should engage. That when you rock back, the heel presses down, but the rest of the foot kind of draws up to help open and stabilize the whole back of the leg as one unit. Finding that right distance with that back knee. We'll sit back 1 more time and hold the pose there, sitting back into our runner stretch. Good, breathe. Plant the foot forward and step to the front of your mat again. Inhale, roll up, mountain pose. Very good. Take a wide stance on your mat. So maybe your heels are touching the back edge or long edge of your yoga mat. Press the hips forward a little bit, stretching the front of the thigh. And then swing the hips to one side so you get an inner thigh stretch on one leg. And then come back to center. Sink the hips forward. And then swing the hips over to the other direction, getting an inner thigh stretch on the opposite leg. Let's do that one more time, each direction. Hips go forward, and then sort of crescent to one side before swooping back to neutral. Hips go forward, and then crescent to one side before swooping back to neutral. Good. Turn the heels in about 45 degrees and let's sink down into our horse stance. Pressing out through the knee. Inhale, swoop the arms up, bring the legs straight. Exhale, bring the arms down, wrap the left elbow under the right elbow, eagle arms if you have it, otherwise just keep them crossed in a V. Let's do that a couple more times. Inhale, swooping the arms up, this idea of a flowing, easeful, empty boat. As you bend the knees, you'll swoop the opposite elbow under. I think it should be your right elbow this time. Inhale, swooping up. Exhale, swooping down. First side, a couple more rounds. In the flow of your breath. Try and just let the body be the empty boat. You don't have to have a mind to practice these postures. Just a clear mind, empty, open, present. Inhaling up. Last round, swooping one arm under. Inhaling up, second side. And back to center. Good. Turn the feet back to parallel. You're going to go to triangle pose. So pivot the right heel away from you. And turn the left toes to the short edge. So it's like a left leg forward, basically. Left leg forward and the right heel pivots back. Press down through your feet and take a moment to find your hips. Where do your hips feel most stable in the shape? Okay, once you've found your hips, I'm actually going to change my stance to make it a little bit more accessible for my body. As you rock the hips, you can find where the hips shut their strongest. And then you're going to slide the left hand down the left leg. Right hand can be on your hip to start. Inhale, make a sail with your right arm. Breathe here. We're going to draw a circle with that top arm, as big of a circle as you can, without moving any other part of your body. So it's purely rotating at the shoulder. That's one circle. We're going to do that 2 more times. Circle number 2. Try to go at my pace, nice and slow. Opening the shoulder. And then circle number 3. Noticing that arm joint just naturally rotating inside of the shoulder. Good. Reaching out, full extension of your triangle pose. Let's go ahead and push down and out with our feet. See if that helps you naturally come back up. Let's go ahead and turn our feet for our second side. I'm going to change your stance. I actually scooted my back foot a little bit wider as it made my hips so much more stable. I'm going to try again on this side with our feet planted, just rock the hips and look for where is most stable. Where's that biggest sense of strength? Once you have something that feels right, you'll slide the right hand down the right leg and sprout the left arm like a sailing fin. And you're going to draw a big circle without moving any other part of your body. Circle number 1. Circle number 2. Last one. Pushing down and out through your feet to come all the way back up. And let's step out of our pose back to the front of our mat. Good. Finding your wall for tree pose balance today. We'll bring up your left foot into tree. There's another great Chung Tzu poem called The Crooked Tree. So you have the empty boat and you also have the crooked tree. And so you're allowed to be as gnarled up in your tree pose as you want today, because in the poem it says, well, you kind of don't really want to be a nice, big, boastful tree, because those trees get cut down and turned into tables, and they get cut down and turned into boats. They get cut down and turned into all sorts of decorative things that they get used as firewood. But the ugly, crooked tree, it just continues on. And by just being the crooked tree, it serves as a place of shade for many animals. And it's this idea that you can be this long-lasting life where to be what you are is enough, that you don't need to have some usefulness or some resourcefulness that you could then take advantage of or perhaps be used in the world. Let's stretch our limbs up and go ahead and just out of celebration of being our own crooked trees today, do something funky with your arms. Your own crooked tree pose today. That even includes falling out of tree. Good, let's bring that leg down. Let's transition to our crooked tree on the second side. Remembering the ideas of ease and gentleness in our lives, that we can apply the empty boat and the crooked tree to so many aspects of how we move into our life, a more simple life, a life that is enough. Just to be here and enjoy our yoga is enough. A boat that has an ill-tempered mind in it would have trouble appreciating these ideas. Indeed. Bring the hands back to center. Press the thumbs against the collarbones and start to lift your chest and throat up. Shift the hips back, bow towards the earth, and step back to lying on the belly. From lying on the belly, you're going to prop yourself up on your right forearm. Go ahead and reach back and hold your left foot with your left hand. And we'll start by just gently doing a quad stretch. Sinking the knee, sinking the hip down. Pulling the foot easily towards our outer hip. And as you bring that left foot down, you can turn your gaze to your right. Try to let that neck stretch and the quad stretch be interconnected. Can you feel that the stretching of the quad and the turning of the neck have a relationship? Listen to the subtle energy. Good. Go ahead and release that leg. Let's replace the arm and switch sides. As you bring the foot down, not overloading the muscle, you might turn your gaze over to your left, listening to how the neck, spine, and core muscles weave down into the core muscles of the hip and low back. And release back. Let's press up and back to our tabletop pose, where you're going to try a similar variation, making sure those hands are nice and strong. And what you're going to do now is you're going to bend and lift your right leg up into the sky. So your foot, your heel is like it's stomping towards the ceiling. And you're going to do your best now. If you can, you're just going to take your left hand like you're reaching into your left pocket. See if you can get into your left pocket. And you can balance and hold into your left hand into your left pocket. Maybe you can actually hold your opposite foot, your right foot, with your left hand. Good. Lift your crown up and look out, folks. Yeah, be okay being a crooked tree. Don't cower away from reality. Yeah, that's it. And just start to kick out. If you've got that foot in your hand, kick out, stretch and breathe. And release. Well done. Well done. Plant the hands back down. We'll go ahead and lift up our left leg in the sky as though that heel is going into the ceiling. And the first step would maybe just to be think about resting that right hand on that right hip. And if it can find that, maybe it'll find the left foot. You don't have to, you choose your level, and then you'll just sort of express the pose. This is time passing. The empty boat on the lake, day after day, or the crooked tree, providing shade when all the other trees have been cut down for being so useful. Good, release it back down. Gently sit back a little bit, opening the low back in the opposite direction, a little bit of rounding there for support. Releasing the neck as well. Doing great today. Let's walk our hands up. And we'll go ahead and support our low back with our hands. With our hands, and you'll gently lean the hips forward. Let the collarbones move back. I like to start with my forehead kind of leaning forward, and I don't lift it until the final moment, but you can kind of do it your own way, but definitely start by sending the hips forward and then down into your knees. And as you're ready, as you lean those shoulders and collarbones back, perhaps consider lifting your gaze up. Don't just lean back. As a matter of fact, think up to help express the pose. Good. Now let's shift our hips back and roll down. You're going to gently round the back. You keep your head up nice and high. You'll just sink those sit bones down towards the heels. Breathe deep. Let's try one more round of that. Walk the hands up. Support your low back. Fingers flow down the back. You're going to gently push the hips forward and down through the knees as you draw the collarbones and shoulders back. When you sort of have found your edge, you might lift your gaze. And I'll give you another option if you want to go a little deeper, is to take one hand and gently touch the heel of that foot. Try not to put too much body weight in that hand. That is really the strength of your back that's holding you up, and your arms are just sort of there acting as like a suspension wire. Maybe both hands go back. There should be a lot of lift and a lot of crescent feeling happening in your spine. Looks good, everyone. Reach up and forward with your heart to come out of your pose before sinking those sit bones down towards your heels. Good. Walk the hands forward and slide the left knee forward while bringing the left foot across the body. Try to feel that the outer layer of the hip, the outer left hip comes down the back. Once that outer hip is coming down the back, draw your belly muscles in, and you can scoot the right knee any further back. When you're ready, you might want to come down to your elbow or forearms on one or both sides. Close the eyes. And empty the boat. Slowly taking the back knee, I did that to your right knee, and scooting it all the way forward to touch the left knee. Split the feet, alternating, so you can sit back between your heels. So your right knee and left knee are stacked like a pillar. You got it. Right knee and left knee are stacked, and then the right foot goes off to the left, and the left knee goes off to the right. You're sort of sitting in the middle. Yep, and if this is too much, you can actually take a block and sit on a block to make it easier to cross your knees. And if you can't cross your knees, it's okay to separate them a little bit too. Good. You should have your left knee on top, I believe. And so you're going to reach your your right arm high to the sky. With the left knee on top, the right arm goes up. And then you're going to scratch your back with that right hand. And then you're going to take your left arm behind the back. And you can dream big about letting those hands touch each other. If you have it nearby, you can go ahead and grab yourself your yoga strap and hold the strap. If you don't worry about it. Anything would work. And just gently now start to dip your forehead towards that top knee. Inhale, rolling back up. Let's change our legs. Let's bring the other leg on top. No, we gotta do pigeon pose first. I can't believe you let me forget. You're an empty boat, and I'm an empty boat, so we forget things sometimes. We're gonna go back to tabletop. Neutralize the hips. And then you're gonna go ahead and slide your right knee forward and take the right foot across. When you're ready, make sure you get that outer back of the hip to flow down to support the hip as you walk the left knee back. One or both hands can come down onto the elbows maybe. We'll practice our pigeon pose here. Slowly slide that back knee forward until it tucks in behind the front knee, and then walk and sit over that so that that other foot comes on the outside of you. So both feet are outside the body, outside the hips. Your right knee should be the knee on top, and you'll take the left arm up and bring the left arm behind the head and the right arm behind the back. If you have that strap, you can use it to join the hands, or maybe your hands will actually, in fact, join. That's great and wonderful. And then sort of dip the forehead towards that top knee. Inhale back up. Go ahead and outstretch your legs in front of you in a V shape. Can't really do this pose standing, so we'll do it seated. Try to anchor your heels straight down into the earth with your toes pointing upward. Rest your fingers on your shins or knees, wherever they reach, without working too hard. And slide the hands down while dipping your forehead down. Don't worry about reaching forward. Just gently crawl the fingers away from the hips while letting the forehead dip down. Let the pose and gravity do the work, much like the way an empty boat would cross a lake. Perhaps this is more than just a fanciful idea, but an actual way you could approach the moment. In Taoism, it is called the way. Inhaling back up. Go ahead and grab the left knee and pull that leg in so that left heel or left foot is against the thigh or groins. Now, keeping your left hand on your left knee, once again, slide the right hand out. You probably go a little further this time, maybe even to the toes. Don't stretch, don't strive. Just let your forehead fall towards your right knee. As you walk the fingertips further away from the hip. Inhale back up. Let's change out our legs, keeping this quiet, soft mindset. We don't have to think so hard. We can just listen to the moment. Right hand on the right knee, sliding the left fingers out where they'd like to go. Drop the forehead over the knee. Inhaling back up. Let's bring our legs in. And slowly, let's do one more final boat pose in celebration of our boat class, the empty boat. You can support under the knee if you'd like. Sit back and tone the core in as you press down through your sit bones. Those heels or toes can stay on the ground, or feel free to lift them and make it more challenging. Either way, be an empty boat in your approach. Embody the true meaning of yoga, to be one, to be connected, to be free from the disruptive mind that can separate us from being here. And then press the spine down into the mat as you draw your knees towards your chest. Stretch out your left leg on the mat and take your right knee all the way to the left in the left hand. Try to keep your right shoulder down on the floor. Roll it back to center. And bring up the right knee. I'm sorry, bring up the left knee. Outstretch the right leg. Take the left leg all the way to the right in the right hand. Do your best to keep the left shoulder near the floor. Bring it back to center. Press both feet into the mat. Let's just do a gentle bridge pose, pushing down through our legs as we lift up our hips. Stretching the back of our neck if you can. Roll yourself back down into the mat. And outstretch your legs. Rest peacefully and quietly like an empty boat. Stretch your limbs and take a comfortable seat on your mat. Namaste.